Hello, everyone. This is Coach Tim Campsall, and I'm excited to have a fellow business owner with us today. Something unique about my guest is that growing up, he wanted to move to a place that had mountains and an ocean as opposed to this flat Indiana world. And then he moved out east and realized that he very much appreciated what Indiana had to offer and moved back. In his downtime, he enjoys spending it with family, including going to Purdue sporting events. And he's most proud of his wife in terms of her stepping up and taking care of the family while he was investing his time in running the business. It's my pleasure to welcome Don to the show today. Hi, Don.
Good afternoon.
Well, hey, let's start with having you share a little bit about yourself. I'm excited to hear about you and your story and about the business. But let's start with you personally. Tell us your name, where you're born, where you live, a little bit about your family.
All right, I'm Don Windler. I was born in Benton County, Fowler, Indiana, and raised out there in the country. And after high school, went to Purdue and got a degree in engineering. Then got a job out east in Washington, D.C., working on federal office buildings, and then transferred to. I was out there for 8 years. Met my wife there. Had two of our kids there. Moved to North Carolina for 3 years, working more public works down there, prisons, university work, and then our third child there, and then had to make a decision whether I was going to go back east or stay there. The company I was with was going to transfer back to Washington, D.C. So whether I wanted to go back home, stay in North Carolina, I wanted to start my own business at some point. That kind of made the decision a little sooner. And I decided to come back to Indiana, start my own business, and our fourth child born here in Indiana. So,
Fantastic.
yeah.
In your introduction, I mentioned that you realized that Indiana was a better place. So what is it about here that it had that appeal for you?
You know, it's a great place to raise a family. It's kind of, it's stable. And as far as the area we're in, Lafayette is good for business. We have Purdue University here and Caterpillar, SIA, a lot of industry that's steady. Purdue is huge with all the development that they do, and then with just having the opportunities there with Purdue and bringing other industries in. So.
Fantastic. Awesome. Thanks
Yeah.
for sharing. So, Don, is there a funny story that your family likes to tell about you that you'd be willing to share?
Well, I would say one that would be, I guess when I was in school, when I was at Purdue, I probably in engineering, and I probably had more fun than I should have had, and I would constantly go into my counselor, Don Hancher. I'd go in and say, Don, I'm not going to go into design. I'm going to go into construction. I'm going to switch over to building construction. And he said, Don, he goes, you're bartending there at Harry's, and it's, I know you're having a good time. And he said, but after you get out, you just graduate with the engineering degree, and you'll always have that engineering degree from Purdue. And I stuck it out, and it did take 5 years, but it stuck it out. And I got the degree, and on graduation day, I took a bottle of Jack Daniels and put it on his desk, and said thank you. So, oh, yeah.
And so the big question, was he right?
He was right. He was right. Yeah. When you went out east, they'd say Purdue. Isn't that a Ivy League school? I said, sure.
That's awesome. So, Don, tell us, how did the business come about, and at what point did you have the confidence that you could run your own business?
Well, I guess as far as I was in construction. I always enjoyed when we were building every building we were on. I always enjoyed the upfront work. So I enjoyed all of the underground. I enjoyed the heavy construction, concrete, the excavation, steel work. When it got to painting and drywall, I'd always be telling them, man, I need to get another job. That was not exciting to me. I didn't enjoy it. I really loved the structural part. And so when I decided to start a business, I knew I wanted to be in something like that. I came up here. I came back to Lafayette about 6 months before I was going to move back. and my uncle Don took me around and introduced me to a ready mix company and a business owner here, a general contractor, and a structural engineer, and then also a ready mix provider. And we met with all them, and there was a need for a commercial. I wanted to get into commercial work, so there was a need for a commercial concrete contractor in town, and I decided to that was the direction I was going to go, and so I did that. So I had at that time 3 kids under the age of 5, and we were and no paycheck because I'm starting a business.
Yeah.
And we sold our house in North Carolina. We rented a home in Lafayette, invested money in the business, and my office was on the part of the laundry room. So we would that would be all of our meetings would be if someone would call and want to meet, say, I'll stop by the office. I said, tell you what, I'm out. I'll just meet you at McDonald's and
Yeah,
we'll,
yeah, yeah. Good
so
for
that
you.
was the
That's
old,
awesome.
yeah. So I had a PO box. So there was no,
Huh?
so that's how we got started. So,
Awesome.
and from there, I did get introduced. One of the gentlemen that I met beforehand, he gave me a name of a person. He said, hey, whatever you decide to do, decide to start a business, you want to call this man. And it was Craig, and it was the first employee that I hired, employee number 1. I talked to him 6 months before I started. He is our director of operations today, and been with us 30 years now. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
So, Don, tell us a little bit more about the company. What's the name? What do you guys do? How do you help folks?
Name of our company is WINCO Construction Company. We are a commercial concrete contractor. We do structural concrete, flat work concrete. We do multi-story walls, foundations, anything concrete. Basically, I guess our sweet spot is probably in the, in the anywhere we do jobs anywhere from 100,000 to 4 million.
Okay.
We're typically somewhere in the $1 million range jobs. So, but we do a lot that are under 50,000 for that matter. So, but anyway, we have a lot of guys that have been with us, a lot of people that have been with us for a long time. We have our controller's been with us 25 years. And like I said, Craig's been with us 30. And then a lot of people in the field have been here for quite a while. So now we have a lot of young people that are coming up as well. We made a concerted effort to hire some younger project managers, estimators. And so we have a young group coming up. And my son being one of them, he's a project manager for us. And a vice president. So, so
Yeah.
yeah, that's where we are today.
So, would your scope of work include parking garages, those big concrete?
It would. We actually have 2 parking garages going on right now. So, one in downtown Lafayette, the other in Carmel. So, we do work any like 85-mile radius of where we are now in Lafayette. So.
Yeah. So, Don, we know that successful businesses can get stuck at various stages of their growth. Tell us about what one of your biggest challenges that you've had over the years, and how'd you work through it?
I would say one of our biggest challenge was in right around 2011, and that was in combination of the economy going down. We had on a project we were working on, the developer that we did a lot of work for over the years, and was always a little bit slow in pay. But so we had some money that was out there, and he went out of business, and kept us. So it was pennies on the dollar that we ended up finally getting some money out of, but we were owed quite a bit of money on a project, and that was a struggle. And we were recommended to file bankruptcy, and I just decided I wasn't going to do that. That was done to me, and I wasn't going to do that to the vendors or the other people that work for me. So we got through it, and it was definitely a learning experience, and it was something that I think we're better for it.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it again.
Yeah, right. That's impressive that
Yeah.
you held in there and ended up not having to do it yourself and be able to pay back your vendors. That's impressive.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
congratulations.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Don, I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit and ask you to pick three people who have been part of your business journey that you're most grateful for them being, helping with your business growth. So who are the three people and how'd they help you?
Okay. I would say number one is Steve Papp. He was the first general superintendent that I worked for out in Washington D.C. And and what he taught was just he was very big integrity and always telling the truth. And his big thing was, you may have some bad news to tell, but that bad news is probably it's only going to be about money. You know, if you don't tell the truth about it, it could be more than money. So, that just realize you just take the hit when you take the hit and you go on. And
Right, yeah.
but he was huge into that was his big thing, and that really left an impression on me because he was a very straightforward guy, and he made sure that everything he did was on the up and up, and so I really appreciated that because not everybody is that way. So
Right.
yeah. So and then I'd say next would be my uncle Don, Don Briette, he ran a grain business, grain elevators, and had a lot of employees. I just liked the way he always treated his employees with great respect, and I would work for him some and off. Um, when I was on school break and would work for him at some of the elevators. And he was always just very fair and very good to his employees and treated them, like family. And they were always, whenever they saw him, you could tell their love for him was, they loved him as well. So anyway, I think that was very important. I've had so I guess my dad, when I was working for my dad, it was when I was a young kid, and so it was always he worked until the job was done. So you made sure the job was done, it was done right, and then you go see the customer and you make sure that he's happy and if he's not happy, you take care of it. So that was the big thing was and always being communicative, always communicating
Yeah.
bad or good. And so I think those would be the three that have meant the most to me. So
I love how those three stories sort of merge into what you've already shared a little bit of, be upfront and honest and do what you say you're going to do. And if you make a mistake, fix it.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Very cool how you've merged it into the culture of your company. Don, the path to building a successful business has a lot to do with our mindset and as well as the things that we learn along the way. So, what's been your biggest learning as a business owner?
I would say our biggest learning is just being open to open to new ideas. In other words, um, can't isn't really something that you know. So anything's possible. That don't limit your thinking on what kind of job you can do or type of project you can handle, and don't be afraid to ask for help or seek out other people that may know about this procedure or whatever that you can. And joining organizations and becoming involved in those and then also spreading that knowledge. So, helping younger people along the way. So,
How do you balance the openness to adaptability and figuring it out with the demands of a timeline and a budget?
well, yeah, a lot of that's taking, I guess, one thing, if you're learning a new thing, I would recommend doing it on a smaller
Yeah.
project.
Fair.
A smaller scale. All the new stuff that we've tried and done over the years, whether it's hiring someone that is familiar with it, and then being able to adapt that, or even taking on some of the smaller jobs that are involved in that before we jumped into one of the bigger ones. So it was kind of going into the shallow end first, I guess. So that's one way.
Yeah, figure it out.
Yeah,
Make some smaller mistakes, have the learning curve on a smaller initiative, and then once you figured it out, then you can scale. Yeah, makes
yeah,
a lot of sense. Yeah.
yeah.
What's a piece of advice or guidance that you would have for business owners who are feeling stuck or they're discouraged or frustrated in their business?
Well, you got to step away from being in it so deep.
Mhm.
And one way to do that is exactly what you're doing. I mean, you have to talk to other people is one, and that can be that consultant or coach or someone along the way that can help you through those things. A lot of times what we do, and it's kind of as entrepreneurs or as business owners, we can fix it ourselves.
Yeah.
And looking back, the times that when you finally realize that, hey, that you need to get out of this rut or
Yeah.
or move on or whatever, or you're finding that what's holding you back is yourself, right?
Mhm.
And you need to be able to grow, be able to do other things. You can't be dependent upon yourself to do it. So one, you got to put trust in other people, and two, you have to bring in people to maybe advise you how to do that. So
I had another guest who he said that if a piece of advice he got is if you've dug yourself into a hole, stop digging.
that's good.
I I thought that was a
That's
very
pretty appropriate. Yeah.
but it's true, right? We get it. I like what you said about, as entrepreneurs, right? Business owner, like we always have figured it out. So we have a mindset of, well, I'll just figure it out, and right, and we can end up making it worse because we keep fiddling with it and tweaking it and trying to figure it out. And sometimes just getting away from it for a night and have a good night's sleep can be the thing that the answer just pops into our head while we're no longer thinking about it.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
And so for the folks who are kind of bumping their head up against the wall, how do you give yourself permission to say, hey, right, it's okay that I don't know what I'm doing here, or I can't figure it out, right? It's okay to ask for help if we are those people who are more self-sufficient and right and kind of figured it out on our own.
Well, I think it's a lot like I mean, I'm a faithful person. I'm Catholic, but I'm a faithful person as well. And I know that when I have issues, whether it's in my personal life, my business life, or whatever, you keep beating your head against the wall and you beat your head against the wall. And finally, when you sit down and when I sit down, I pray about it,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. And that right there is asking for help. And part of that is just removing yourself from it. Part of that's just removing yourself from it and kind of giving it up, right? That you can't fix it.
Yeah.
We can't fix everything. We can't. And at some point you have to give that up. And whether that's a business item that you're giving up, and you need to ask someone else for help, right? Or what's the personal item, and you're giving up to God. So it's I think I shouldn't say it's the same, but it's like the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I find that when we've taken away the pressure that I have to figure it out on my own, or I should know the answer, or I've got to figure it. When we take that pressure away, right, and let go of it, and to your point, if we pray about it and right, give it to God, or we ask a friend, it seems to calm down the emotion, and then our logical side of our brain can kick in and actually start thinking about it and processing it, and because we're not so overwhelmed by the stress and pressure of the thing that
Right.
we
It takes the pressure off. Takes the pressure off. But you include someone else in it. It's taking the pressure off of you. Well, I got to get this fixed. I got. Yeah.
As you think about the next year, Don, what's either one of your biggest challenges or an exciting opportunity that you haven't fully capitalized on yet?
Well, I'd say a challenge, or not necessarily a challenge, but opportunities, I guess, is my son is coming up in the business. We're working together and working through a plan to. I mean, we're not. There's no definite. Wow, 3-year plan, and I'm stepping away. There's nothing like that. It's just a matter of incorporating him more in the business, and then me maybe. Being more able to advise more and be more of a mentor and that kind of thing. I'm really looking forward to we've kind of got a plan set forth of how we're going to go about that, and I'm really looking forward to implementing that. And really we're looking at we brought in some younger talent and managers and estimators and such, and I look forward to I believe we can we're looking for some growth next year, and we've grown this year and we plan on again next year, so I'm looking forward to that. I think this is some exciting that it looks like in our area, the economy looks good as far as future construction, so the opportunities there, I think I look forward to that. So
I'm super proud of you. Most uh, private family-owned companies don't think about succession planning and next generation this early. So you should be super proud of yourself. Congratulations on starting that early. That's awesome.
well, thank you. I am 64 though.
Oh, okay. Wow, you look very young. You're a young,
Oh, well, thank you.
healthy 64. Congratulations for that too. Last question, Don. Jim Rohn says that we become the average of, or said that we become the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. So as you think about that quote, what advice would you have for business owners who are, feeling overwhelmed and trying to figure it all out on their own?
Well, I think um, belonging to organizations is great in that you can, whether it's trade organizations are fantastic, in that you can, one, you meet with people that are in the same situation as you are, and you can talk to them if you join a mixed group, if you join a mixed group being a trade organization, and then I get with people in your trade, and that's helpful. I think any organization, whether even a volunteer organization, getting involved in that, get involved in other things, not just business wise, but also to help the community, because helping the community is helping you, and helping, we owe it back to the community. No one got here, on their own. So it's kind of, it's imperative that we also give back. So I think that's important. People have helped us along the way, and we need to help the next generation. So
I love that that idea of paying it forward. I've had folks who have said, "Hey Tim, I hear you that I should reach out to people and ask for, you know, to pick their brain or share a cup of coffee, but I don't want to bother them. They seem really busy. They're probably not gonna have time for me. What are your thoughts on that? As someone who's been in the business for a long time, are you open to people, sharing a cup of coffee and asking you questions?
oh, absolutely. In fact, you I think people, once you've been in business for a while, and I'll say for me, yeah, I would take that as a compliment, right? If someone calls and asks for advice, I would most gladly meet with them, a younger person, and or someone new in the business and whatever. So yeah, definitely, I would consider that a compliment. So.
And why, for people who are listening who might be afraid to reach out to folks, why is it a compliment? Why is that something that would be, that you would be willing to do?
Well, if someone would think that it would be important to find out my opinion on something, or to see how I felt about something, I think that'd be a compliment to even think of me that way, right? So that and I definitely want to spend the time with them to do that. And I think back to where I was, when I first started, and how that meant to me to be able to get with people, and maybe I didn't do it as much as I should have, and once I did do it, I say, why didn't I do that sooner?
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
But no, definitely. If that's in a situation you're in, boy, and I think I'm not like some special person that no one else feels like that. I think that would be, I think that would be a compliment to anybody, right? So, yeah. So,
You mentioned, earlier on, the thing that I hear the most is that being a business owner can be lonely at the top, right? And the pressure and the stress and right, not being able to share it with employees and not wanting to take it home. So yeah, we've been through it. We understand. So yeah, we all have battle scars and stories to tell. And if we can share it with somebody else, and help them help to smooth out their journey, right? It is a pay it forward, like you were saying earlier. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely, and that's yeah, and it's a kind of an honor to do that. So, yeah, yeah, if we can help somebody else out.
So based on the multiple learnings that you've had and the experiences that you've been through, um, for someone who is thinking about making the switch like you did so many years ago from, being an employee to starting a business, what thoughts do you have for them?
Well, I think uh, do your homework, right? Do your homework. Make sure there's a, make sure there's a market for what you're doing, and then you have to feel strongly about it because it's not going to be easy, right? It's not always going to be easy. So you got to feel strongly about what you're doing because it's not always going to be great. There's going to be ups and downs, and so if you enjoy it, if you enjoy doing it, and that's what you think you'd like to do, I would encourage it, but make sure you do your homework and make sure you're prepared for the dry seasons when it's not raining, right? So it's yeah, because they will come. So the drought will be there, and but you just have to be. It's part of, but it's part of the season. So
Yeah,
part of it.
it's certainly not for the faint of heart because the roller
No,
coaster it's true, right? There's some really big highs and there are some pretty low lows, but overall, right, the trajectory tends to continue to go up, but you got to be able to
yeah,
wait out the ups and downs.
and make sure your partner or your spouse
Hmm.
is a partner in this. So and that they're on board. So because
We didn't talk about that
you'll
one.
need them.
Let's great great reminder. I meant to
Mhm.
ask you. So in the introduction, I mentioned that your wife was that rock at home and took care of the family. So why was that so important? Why was that so helpful?
Well, well, like I said, when I started, we had three kids under the age of 5, and so and then so just with her taking care of once they started getting into school and then we had our fourth child when we were 40, and that was so just getting them to they're in Catholic school, so there's no school bus. It's getting them to school every day, getting them to all the activities, getting them all the stuff, making sure that you know, I'm not old. I'm not. I wasn't being able to be counted on to be there at all
Mm.
times. You know what I mean? Because just with the business and that kind of stuff, and I was doing all the estimating then, and so it was very. There were a lot of late nights, bidding and that kind of stuff that just needed to be done. And so she was. And during this time, my mom was actually staying there for a while too. We were caring for my mom at the time, and so she really had a lot.
Yeah.
She really did a lot during that time, and that was very hard. So I was very hard for her, and so it's important that you have a relationship, with your spouse, that they know what you're getting into, and you know what you're getting
Yeah.
into, and that's because it's not easy. So,
Yeah.
but it can be rewarding. So it's I mean it's rewarding, but you work for it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
It's that saying high risk, high reward, right?
There you
Like
go. Yep.
I've said this to people before is, if you're not ready, willing, and able to do the hard work, then it's so significantly easier to be an employee, right? But being an
Absolutely.
employee doesn't have the same rewards that having a successful business can have, especially as as you get to the point where you have other employees and right and there less demand on your time and you get a little bit more freedom and flexibility and then it becomes worth the grind in
Right.
the first few years.
Right. Right. It's definitely easier today than it was 25 years ago.
Well, good. That's awesome. Congratulations. So, Don, it sounds like you've had some incredible people that have been part of your journey and building your successful business. So, if they were all here today, what would you want to say to them?
Uh, Thank you. Thank you. You meant a lot to where I am today, and I appreciate all you did to set a foundation. So I guess our tagline is a company with a quality foundation, and I think that can mean a lot of different things. So part of that is the people that helped me get there. So
I love that tagline. That's very cool.
yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
Don, it's been a pleasure chatting with you today. Thanks so much for being on the show.
All right. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Self-Made is a Myth show. Please help spread this movement by liking and subscribing to our show and following us on Facebook and LinkedIn. To join our movement, go to bemadtogether.com. Okay, folks, that's a wrap. Please pay it forward and be sure to tune in next time to the Self-Made is a Myth podcast.